We all know there can only be one winner this year, so why not your team? Let's bring in the one and only Brian Windhorst to give us 3 reasons why the Suns can win it all this year.
This fan base is looking forward to cheering for a winner. So I want to go out there and prove every night that we got a chance to win.
If you're a Suns fan, you're very excited about this postseason, especially if Kevin Durant looks like he's going to be healthy. And the reason you're excited is because you have a team completely built to score and win close playoff games. 1 or 2 games might go one team's way lopsided, but it always comes down to 1 or 2 games where it could go either way. And the Suns have the ultimate difference makers. And it's so hard to guard Booker and Durant straight up. And when you add the fact that they can spread the floor with Chris Paul, anchoring their offense, and especially DeAndre Ayton. DeAndre Ayton is a guy who can screen set, we've seen him execute clutch situations.
Crowder looking, throws it alley-oop. Oh! Ayton puts it down! He puts it down!
Just when you think about teams in the postseason, you have to remember that the regular season is very, very different. And when you start to think about what's valuable in the playoffs, so much of what Durant and Booker have makes a difference. Because when you create your own shot in those fourth quarter situations, you really need the ability to have size, and you need the ability to go one-on-one isolation. I know that we all call those timeouts, and we go through the pressure and the agony of waiting for them, and you see the coach drawing up the play.
Got a great play plan for the first play. So one of you guys get it and throw it to one of the other guys, and then you throw it to someone else, and then you shoot.
But almost always it's for an ISO play. And when you look at the great players who have won championships, it's guys who are great isolation players. And Devin Booker has been a big part of a team that's reached the finals. And obviously Kevin Durant has 2 finals MVPs and has been there 4 times.
You know, he's a special talent that I don't think this game has ever seen and will ever see before.
Number 2, they have a really good defense cast. Now, their defense hasn't been as good this season as it's been the last 2 years. The last 2 years, they were top 5. This year, they've really sort of hovered around 6, 7, 8 range. But they've also been really banged up. Ayton has missed time recently. Obviously, Durant and Booker missed time. Chris Paul missed time earlier in the season. When you get right down to it, they have consistently been the second best defense in the Western Conference throughout the entire season. Basically, Memphis has been the West's best defense, but Phoenix has been behind them throughout the year. And regardless of this offensive era that we're in, history tells you if you're going to win in the playoffs, you have to be able to defend. And the reason that this Suns team has won 4 playoff series in the last 2 years is because they've been able to defend. Durant can be a guy that they can put at center in lineups and feel okay about it in certain situations because he can defend the basket. And I believe that defense will show up. When it's all said and done, Cass, my experience tells me that the teams who are still standing, the team that wins the West is going to be a team that can defend, and the Suns check that box.
The other night is Booker jamming up Dort, comes over the steal, pull up 3, hold the pose.
He didn't do it. Only certain players can do this, and that's the stars on their teams.
And third, this team has a lot of playoff experience under its belt together. The core 3 players of Ayton, Booker, and Chris Paul have played in 6 playoff series together over the last 2 seasons. I know that they don't have much reps with Durant, but if there's any star player who I feel okay about integrating into a team, it's probably going to be Kevin Durant. And you can certainly point out that this is a huge ask. He's only played a handful of games with them. I agree. But I also believe that their collective experience, these are veteran players. Kevin Durant's played in triple-digit playoff games in his career. And don't forget, Monty Williams is a very experienced coach who has guided teams through a number of playoff series now. So I like that factor for them, especially when you look at a Western Conference that, frankly, there's teams at the top that haven't done this before. There's basically the Warriors and everybody else. And the Suns are at the lead of everybody else in the experience part.
And I feel really good, man. I've been waiting on this for a really long time.
Yeah, they know what it feels like to have to play all the way deep into the playoffs. So if you were going to create a top 3 things of what it takes to be a champion, scoring, star power, defense, and experience, I think those are the top 3 things on the list, and you're giving all 3 of those to the Suns. But we know in order to win a championship, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. But what is the one thing that can stop this team?
I think health. This is the thing that's consistently stopped them over the last couple of years. When they reached the finals, they were up 2-0. A couple of years ago to the Bucks. And look, Giannis was amazing. They might have won it anyway, but Chris Paul hurt his wrist, ended up needing to get surgery. Nobody wants to talk about this, but they had an illness that went through the team at the end. And that doesn't necessarily explain their lack of intensity against the Mavericks in the end of that series, but it was bad luck. So this team, and throughout this season, Kevin Durant is about to make his home debut and he sprains his ankle cast. Yeah. When have we ever like that? That's preposterous. So they have to get lucky. And that's the thing. Like, I'm sure Chris Paul has many nights staring at the ceiling. My fortune so bad in the playoffs. At some point, you'd figure he is going to have some fortune. So maybe this is the year, but they definitely need that. They cannot afford a blow to any of their star players.
Yeah, and then you bring up Chris Paul. They need him to dig deep and find all the gas left in that tank. Because even if they're, relying more on Devin Booker and Kevin Durant to kind of carry the ball and carry the scoring, they still need the point guard out there in order to get that championship. Those are 3 great reasons as to why the Phoenix Suns could be the 2023 NBA champion. My champion always, Brian Windhorst. Thank you.
Thanks, Cass.